People found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a bitch. And everyone, whoa,
yeah.
Can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a
Ellen DeGeneres came back saying this was her final stand-up special, her big return, the moment she flips the narrative and gets everyone back on her side. It was supposed to silence critics and remind people who she was at the top. But that's not how it played out at all.
Ellen DeGeneres finds herself at the center of a storm of controversy.
Being accused of going too far, too gay.
Instead, it brought all the old issues right back to the surface, louder than before. By the time it dropped, her image had already taken a heavy hit, with months of reports exposing a tense, uncomfortable vibe behind the scenes of her show. Staff weren't quiet either. People openly talked about pressure, intimidation, and a work culture driven by fear. And it went deeper. Some said Ellen herself acted cold, distant, and way different with non-celebrities. That bright dancing TV persona, it didn't line up with those stories at all. Rather than facing that gap directly, the special felt defensive.
I always end each show by saying be kind to one another.
Breaking news tonight. Is the Queen of Nice really the Queen of Me?
She hinted the backlash came from being too honest or too direct, even suggesting her identity played a part. But that explanation didn't really land with people. Ellen didn't just have a career, she built a whole brand on kindness. Be kind to one another wasn't just a catchy line, it was her image, repeated so much it became who she was in the public eye. That's why this situation hit way harder than most celebrity drama.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is. This environment, this toxic culture that she created in the office has been going on for 16 years.
2018, Dana DiMatteo flew from Chicago to Los Angeles and was delighted to be picked out of the audience to have some fun with Ellen. But then she says she was shocked when she was briefed on the comedy bit by the producers.
They tell you, you can't be smarter, funnier than Ellen. She's the comedian and the star, not you.
She emailed the owner of the restaurant and complained about your chip nail polish.
What?
And I was like, what?
This wasn't about a bad attitude. It was about a kindness brand clashing with real experiences that didn't match. Once those stories gained traction, everything shifted fast. Viewers started pulling back, ratings dropped, and business deals got shaky. Sponsors didn't make a scene, they just quietly stepped away. Her show started losing momentum, and even her game show spin-off faded out by 2022. The message was clear. She wasn't seen as that feel-good, trusted daytime figure anymore. What really made the special stand out wasn't just when it dropped, it was how it hit people. It didn't feel like reflection, it felt like resistance, not accountability, but straight pushback. And that clash gets even clearer when you remember who Ellen used to be. Back in the mid-2000s, she was one of the safest names in entertainment, stacking awards, building a huge platform, and owning that easy, feel-good daytime image. Then things started to shift. Slow at first, then all at once. Former staff described a high-pressure environment, while some guests hinted that off-camera moments felt way colder than expected. This didn't blow up overnight, it built quietly until it couldn't be ignored, and the timing made it worse. The industry was already under pressure with major scandals and growing distrust of celebrities. People weren't overlooking behavior that didn't match the image anymore. So when the special brushed off the backlash like it was overblown, it landed badly. Instead of addressing the power gap between a major host and staff, parts came off dismissive, even as jokes.
You feel like you were being canceled?
I mean, I really didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. It was too orchestrated. It was too coordinated. And, people get picked on, but for 4 months straight for me, and then for me to read in the press about a toxic work environment when all I've ever heard from every guest that comes on the show is what a happy atmosphere this is and what a happy place it is.
She also hinted that being outspoken or different played a role, but that's not what people were calling out. The issue was simple. The gap between the public image and what was happening behind the scenes. And viewers caught that instantly. Critics didn't hold back. They called the special tone deaf.
Yeah, I got kicked out of show business. Yeah, because I'm mean. No mean people in show business.
Even longtime fans started stepping away. What should have been a comeback moment ended up looking like damage control that just didn't connect. At the same time, Ellen had a long, very public link with Sean Diddy Combs. He showed up on her show a lot. The vibe between them always looked smooth. Jokes, birthday shoutouts, easy back and forth. Back then, it all seemed harmless and normal.
Tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes.
Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that?
And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
And then it will carry on there.
Yeah. No, I mean the after party.
No, I know.
But then everything around Diddy flipped fast. Allegations and investigations started making headlines, and his name came under serious pressure. And just like that, old clips with Ellen started popping up everywhere. Those moments used to feel like simple talk show fun, but in this new context, they hit different.
Early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late,
What
please.
time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late. Because, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
One clip shows her calling him the life of the party, another joking about not knowing what events she's invited to. Before, it was just jokes. Now, it feels more loaded. That's how public ties work. When someone you're linked to faces controversy, even small moments get picked apart. And in an industry already under pressure, that kind of connection doesn't slide. All of this added more weight to a situation already cracking. Her carefully built image started to strain. And when that final special dropped, it didn't feel like a comeback. It felt more like a controlled exit that didn't really answer anything. Her downfall wasn't one big moment. It built over time as the on-screen image stopped matching what people were saying behind the scenes. Once that gap showed up, fixing it wasn't simple anymore. Trying to cover it all with jokes didn't help. It actually made things look worse.
Were you surprised by the allegations about P. Diddy? Did that surprise you about P. Diddy? He's been on your show many times.
Have a good night.
Have you been to his parties?
The gap between the image and the stories became even harder to ignore, and her long connection with Diddy started hitting different through that lens. Once serious allegations surrounded him, the spotlight didn't stay on him alone. It spread to everyone publicly tied to him, including Ellen. This wasn't just one headline either. Reports say these conversations had been moving quietly in industry circles for a long time. And during all that, Ellen kept bringing him onto her show. He wasn't a random guest. He showed up again and again, always in a positive light in front of a huge daytime audience. At one point, she even called him a favorite. That kind of comfort, mixed with playful nicknames, shows a close, easy connection, not something distant. To be clear, there's no confirmed evidence linking Ellen to any of the alleged actions tied to him. That part matters. But at the same time, when someone spends decades at the top, surrounded by powerful people, it raises questions about what they might have known.
Beautiful woman up there. That's your mother, isn't it, huh?
Yeah, look at her.
Hello.
Yeah, she's available if you're interested. I'd like to offer her.
As things escalated and headlines got heavier, Ellen stayed completely silent. No public distance, no explanation, just nothing. Then came a major shift. Right as pressure around Diddy was building, Ellen left the US and moved abroad. By November 2024, she and her wife were settled in southwest England, and the timing caught attention. She said the move was political, pointing to concerns about LGBTQ+ rights under another Trump term.
People in America and Republicans who would quite like to undo the right for gay people to get married. I mean, that's back on the table as a debate, I think,
absolutely.
isn't it?
The Baptist Church in America is trying to reverse gay marriage. They're trying to, at the very least, stop it from happening in the future and possibly reverse it. And Portia and I are already looking into it, and if they do that, we're going to get married here.
On the surface, that sounds clear, but some people questioned it, especially given her past friendly connection with George W. Bush, whose administration opposed same-sex marriage.
None of my business what somebody's. Now, when somebody makes it my business, like on gay marriage, I'm going to stand up and say I don't support gay marriage. In my state of Texas, if we tried to have gay marriage, I would campaign against it.
So drawing a hard line now, it feels selective, not consistent at all. And then the property moves started stacking up fast. Not long after landing in England, she picked up a countryside estate for around $20 million. Soon after, another deal popped up, this time closer to $30 million. The story made it sound random. Wake up, see messages, decide not to go back, buy a house, done. But that timeline doesn't stay clean for long. Plans kept shifting, another purchase, another pivot, and that's where it really starts to stand out. Reports say she barely spent a month in that first place before kicking off major renovations. The upgrades moved quickly, everything got polished fast, and then the house hit the market again at a much higher price. That doesn't feel like settling down, it looks like a flip. And when you factor in possible tax advantages tied to primary residence rules, the money side gets hard to ignore. This isn't new for her either. Ellen has reportedly flipped dozens of homes over the years, especially in Southern California. This isn't random, it's a system she knows well. Put it all together and the move starts looking less like a lifestyle change and more like strategy. Then came local pushback. Reports of renovations moving ahead without full approval. Concerns about drainage from fencing changes, and even claims of construction affecting historically sensitive land. The move was sold as a quiet, simple reset, but behind that image, things looked way more complex. Managing multi-million-dollar properties and big renovation crews isn't simple living. That's high-level strategy and serious money moving. It feels less like stepping away and more like repositioning. From a narrative angle, it's slick, framed as values-driven while building assets at the same time. But that story didn't hold for long. After about a year abroad, reports said she was back in the US, and that changes everything. After such a firm exit and strong reasoning, coming back that fast makes the whole move feel less solid. If it was about principle, what changed? If it was long-term, why reverse so quickly? With the timeline lining up around everything happening with Diddy, it's hard not to notice. Then there's the money side, and this is where it gets sharper. She reportedly set up residency at the UK property even briefly, which can open the door to major tax advantages when selling. We're not talking small numbers either. In some setups, that could cut capital gains taxes by around 20 to 24% on a multi-million-dollar deal. That's not minor, that's a huge incentive. Zoom out and it doesn't look random. It fits a pattern she's been running for years. Ellen isn't new to this game. She's reportedly flipped dozens of properties and at one point held a huge portfolio just in Southern California. Real estate isn't a hobby, it's part of the strategy. Even the explanation about switching homes in England doesn't fully land. The claim was the first estate didn't have enough space for horses. But that's something you check before spending $20 million. That detail feels less like a mistake and more like a convenient excuse. Put the sequence together and it starts looking structured. Buy low, upgrade fast, relist higher, lock in profit. At the same time, frame it as a values-driven move. Now you're not just making money, you're shaping the story too. Online speculation started growing too, but there's no confirmed evidence linking her to any broader allegations. No formal charges at all. There's no official link tying her to those situations, and her name hasn't shown up in any legal filings connected to them. But perception? That's a different story. Once her credibility took a hit during the workplace fallout, that protective layer disappeared. Speculation started moving faster, and people began connecting dots, whether those links were solid or not. Even comments from figures like Aaron Rodgers added to the vibe. On a podcast, he hinted that parts of the entertainment world are way more connected than people think.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? It's a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
Just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background. What? Oh, similar. That looks like a building.
That doesn't prove anything directly, but it changes how people see silence and close associations. And that's what this really comes down to. When someone stays quiet during major controversies involving people they were publicly close to while making big moves at the same time, it stands out. It doesn't confirm anything, but it keeps all eyes on them. So now the question is simple. Was it all coincidence, or was the timing just a little too perfect?